Hi everyone, Big Thinny Drink Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of the new SLOWTHAI album, TYRON. This is the second full-length commercial album from UK songwriter and rapper SLOWTHAI, which arrives a few years after his breakout debut in 2019, Nothing Great About Britain, which instantly turned him into an artist to watch thanks to its fusion of grime, hardcore hip-hop, and even punk aesthetics. Not to mention Ty's uniquely nasal, elastic, and animated delivery. Over the next year, the more aggressive songs in Ty's catalog, combined with his live performances and viral antics, would give him kind of a wild boy reputation, something it seems he now wants to find balance with. As TYRON is presented in this 2-disc format, though overall it is a relatively short record at just 35 minutes, and there's a relatively strong emotional separation between these two batches of tracks. Bouncy, aggressive bangers with a trap flair to kick things off at the start, then a run of despondent diatribes with names like Mount Kimby, James Blake, and Dominic Fike adding to the emotional nuance of the record. On his last LP, I think SLOWTHAI already did a pretty good job of making these two sides of himself very clear, but now it seems he wants listeners to really feel and see the difference, and I surely did, for better or for worse, because in the process of almost pitting these two vibes against each other, one does outshine the other, and what side that is maybe depends on your personality or what drew you to SLOWTHAI's music in the first place. For me, there is one collection of tracks here that surpasses in terms of lyrical detail and emotional impact, and it's not the first. Don't get me wrong, songs like What as well as Vex are fantastically grimy, almost like a demented version of something that you would get on an A$AP Rocky record, but neither offer much in terms of structure or variation. There are standouts on the first disc, and they're basically the most developed songs here. The hard-hitting MAZZA featuring A$AP Rocky, which almost sounds like Ty's take on a Playboi Carti song, spitting bullets and weird ad-libs over a bear trap beat, and deceptively simple, weary, dusty, wheezing chords. Ty even hits a little baby-voiced inflection for a moment during the addictive hook. Rocky also does not skimp on his guest verse. That Molotov and Mazel Tov line was fire, as well as the way he passes off to SLOWTHAI at the back end of his verse. SLOWTHAI, hear your part go. Then there's Cancelled featuring Skepta, which also hits hard, features a sharp hook, creative beat switch, and a lyrical focus on essentially being uncancelable. However, I would be lying if I didn't point out that much of the shine on this track does go to Skepta, especially with that few G's killing them softly line. Overall, it's a good track, just SLOWTHAI doesn't give himself enough time to really leave an impression on it. Then we have the vulnerable final track on the first disc, Play With Fire, which is not quite as hard or aggressive as anything else on this section of the record. The reason being, I think this one feels more like a transitional moment. SLOWTHAI begins getting in his feelings, which I think prepares us for the emotional rigor of the second disc. It's like the whole record starts off on this euphoric or aggressive high that SLOWTHAI eventually comes down from, especially around the track Dead, where things get a bit more spacey and morbid and existential. Then Play With Fire presents SLOWTHAI's negative thoughts creeping in, affecting him, which happens against these plucky, sparkling lead melodies, steady beats, distant vocal samples. Ty's passionate delivery is great and only intensifies his bars about mental health, effectively painting this picture of a binge and crash cycle, describing his bike as having no brakes, which eventually puts him in a dark and remorseful place that he can't escape. With the second disc, things turn instantly cinematic on the song I Tried, where the instrumental features these idyllic, pitched, warped soul samples that feel like a combination of Kanye West, but also Tyler, the Creator. This sound serves as a perfect bed for SLOWTHAI's vivid lyrics about being treated like a pest, tumbling down a black hole, broken homes. He comes off so devastated and confident at the same time. He is truly reveling in his underdog status. The following focus extends a lot of these same feelings, but trying to give the audience a sense of reframing its mind in order to not have the negativity that the past couple of tracks have been about preoccupying things so much. Not crazy about the instrumental, and some of SLOWTHAI's rhyme schemes are incredibly basic here, but I do appreciate how frank he comes across on this one. We have a stronger lyrical and instrumental showing, in my opinion, on the following track, Terms, which features a very strong hook from Dominic Fike. What SLOWTHAI says on this track, in my opinion, hits even harder, as he is rapping about mitigating his own madness, being caught in a cycle of drugs and sadness and having a hard time just climbing out of it. The acoustic and melancholy instrumental, along with Deb Never's touching lead vocals on the song Push, are a nice contrast from SLOWTHAI's really intense and manic delivery, along with his bars about persevering. Then from here on TYRON, we move into a strong final leg, starting with NHS, laced with these squeaky little lead vocals that are so Brockhampton all the way. I guess you could say this is the record's closest attempt at a happy song. There's even an aside in the midst of the track where SLOWTHAI says this is a fucking happy song, where he's essentially trying to see the good in the bad in a way. What is beauty without chaos? What is positivity without negativity? I think the song is a great attempt on SLOWTHAI's part to deliver the audience some kind of assurance for us, but also for him, because when you do listen to this record for a while, you really do begin to worry for the guy. In a way, things turn a bit more grim on the following Feel Away. Now, while the instrumental on this track, with its delayed chords and stunning guest vocal from James Blake, I mean, it's beautiful, but simultaneously do notice that the entire track is about essentially this relationship folding, crumbling because of the inadequacies of the two individuals involved in it. Specifically SLOWTHAI, who at this point feels like his shortcomings just aren't allowing him to continue forward. It's really one of those cliched, it's not you, it's me type moments, but you really do feel it. Then ADHD I found to be a fitting closer and a little shocking at some parts, and also a cliffhanger. SLOWTHAI is obviously struggling with the mental demons that put us on the TYRON journey to begin with. The depression of this record and the anger of this record are coalescing in a way and meeting at this just enraged climax. The refrains of the track start putting in our heads this idea that SLOWTHAI is going to take his life. The song cuts off and then it moves into a phone call with someone who sounds like his brother, at least he's referring to him as such, and it's like SLOWTHAI goes to the ledge. He's in the supremely dark place, but then connecting with someone who's important to him, allows him to back off, reframe, and think about what really matters. Then, as he circumvents this attempt on his own life, he comes back with like even more force than ever and is almost like daring about the whole thing. I mean, the final bar on the track is fail to exit like, he doesn't have a visa. A choice that I hope SLOWTHAI continues to make no matter where his demons put him. So yes, overall I thought this was a strong showing for SLOWTHAI, conceptually and creatively, because I think this record is a lot more about the journey than it is any individual track. And I can't really say I'm surprised about the themes of this album either, because SLOWTHAI's last LP in many respects was very much a mental health record, and he focuses successfully on that idea even more here. Yeah, there were a few spots on the front end I found to be a little underwhelming, understructured, underproduced, but not really anything that derailed the record overall or took away from the incredible run of tracks in the second half. Feeling a light to decent 8 on this one, Tran. Zishin, have you given this album a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head, it's another video that you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, music, SLOWTHAI, forever.